Today is the 25th day of the month of Tishrei. We will be finishing off chapter 1 discussing the laws of waking up in the morning, and we will be doing the first 4 paragraphs of chapter 2 discussing the laws of the morning netilas yadayim, washing our hands after we wake up. So chapter 1, paragraph 5. There's a prayer called Tikkun Chatzos, which is recited at halachic midnight, the halfway point between sunset and sunrise. This prayer mourns the destruction of the temple. Most people do not say it. However, if one is able to get up in the middle of the night to recite this Tikkun Chatzos, that is definitely a very meritorious thing to do. Those that do begin their day at this halachic midnight, after they finish Tikkun Chatzos, then it's appropriate to study Torah until it's time for the morning services. Again, this is not such a common prayer for people to recite. Paragraph 6. As part of those Tikkun Chatzos prayers, there are many verses that come from Torah or the Nevi'im, the prophets, Ksuvim, the writings, and those verses which are not commonly known, says the Tishrei, we should make sure to read them inside a prayer book or inside Psalms, etc. We should not recite them by heart. Even if we know them by heart, if at all possible, it's better to read them inside. Paragraph 7. After reciting some of these prayers, there's a blessing at the end, blessing God for listening to our prayers. Says the Tishrei that we should not use God's name when saying that blessing. Chapter 2. The laws of netilas yadayim, washing our hands in the morning. There is a mitzvah that when we get up in the morning, we wash what is commonly referred to in Yiddish as negelwasser. We fill up a cup with water and we pour it over our hands. There are 3 reasons for this washing. Number 1 is, just like the Kohanes in the temple would wash their hands before beginning the service in the temple, so too, every single Jew wakes up, they're serving God throughout the day, we wash our hands before we start our day. Number 2 is more of a Kabbalistic reason, that while we're sleeping, some sort of what's called in Hebrew, ruach ra, some sort of evil spirit descends upon us. When we arise, that spirit departs from us, and it departs through our fingertips. So we wash our hands to get rid of the last vestiges of that ruach ra, of that spirit. Reason number 3 is because while we're sleeping, it's very likely that our hands touched part of our body that's considered halachically unclean. Any part of our body that is normally covered, if we touch it, our hands become halachically unclean. And in order for us to pray, to say any sort of blessings, or study Torah, we are supposed to wash them first. Therefore, since when we slept, we don't know where our hands went, when we arise, before we begin any sort of prayers, we wash our hands. The first reason of replicating what the Kohanes did in the temple, that's one of the reasons, but it doesn't have much of a halachic ramification other than the fact that we're supposed to wash our hands. We're going to see later on in paragraph 8 that the second 2 reasons, number 1 of this evil spirit which descends upon us, and number 2 of our hands may have touched an unclean part of our body, we're going to see that those do have practical application in regards to if and when we make a blessing on this hand washing. One is supposed to try to get this hand washing done before walking 4 cubits, 4 amos, which is approximately between 6.3 and 7.6 feet. If a person has something urgent to take care of, whether it's going to the bathroom or something else, then we can rely on the opinions that say that as long as you're under the same roof, it's not a problem to move around before washing our hands. Paragraph 2. The Tishrei says that we should put on our tzitzis right away when we wake up. However, the Mishnah Berurah says that nope, really we should first wash our hands and then afterwards put on our tzitzis. Paragraph 3. This is the procedure for how we do this hand washing. We pick up the washing cup in our right hand. We fill it up with water. We then transfer it to the left hand. And we pour water over our right hand. Then we transfer it back to our right hand and pour water over our left hand. We go back and forth until each hand had water poured over it 3 times. We're supposed to wash our hands all the way until our wrists. If you recall, on Yom Kippur, we only wash until the knuckles at the bottom of our fingers, where our fingers are attached to our hands. However, generally speaking, on a regular morning, we should wash each time until our wrists. it's appropriate for one to wash their face as well in the morning, and for one to rinse out their mouth. We're going to be heading into prayers shortly. We're going to be saying blessings soon, and we have to make sure that we're presentable before we face God and address Him. Of course, anybody taking a shower and brushing the teeth covers that without any issue. Paragraph 4. The water that we poured over our hands nowadays is not a big deal because we're generally pouring over a sink. But if for whatever reason you're pouring over a bowl, you got to make sure the water goes into a bowl, because this water, since it washed off that ruach ra, that evil spirit from our hands, that evil spirit now rests upon these waters. Therefore, we're not allowed to get any benefit from this water, and after we wash our hands, we should discard the water. Again, in 2024, it's not a big deal because we're anyways generally washing over a sink and the water is being discarded right away. Now, there are some people that because the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch said that you're not supposed to walk 4 amos, 4 cubits before washing, it is common for people to prepare by their bedside a basin with a filled cup of water in it before they go to bed. That way, when they wake up in the morning, they can wash negel vas right away. If you're able to do that, fantastic. But if you can't, you're able to go to the bathroom to wash in the bathroom instead. However, if you do wash in a basin at your bedside, make sure that water all goes down the drain afterwards. This concludes today's learning. Have a great day and see you on the next episode.